Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure and distinct honor to welcome each and every one of you to the 45th Lenoir-Rhyne University Sports Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Before we begin at this time, I'd like to welcome University Pastor Mr. Todd Cutter, who will perform this morning's invocation.
Let us pray. Most holy and gracious God, we give you thanks for this day, for this time to gather and to celebrate. And we pray that you will be seen and known in our midst. We especially lift up to you all of those who have been gifted with athletic abilities. And today we rejoice with Sarah, William, Kate, Catherine, Chandler, and Jamil. And we remember with thanksgiving Jerry and the impact that he had at Lenoir-Rhyne for many years. Be with us this day. Guide us with your Spirit and send us forth from this place in joy. All of these things we ask in your holy name. Amen.
It is also my pleasure now to introduce the Vice President of Athletics, Ms. Kim Pate, who will deliver our official welcome and our opening remarks.
Well, welcome. Welcome to all of our alumni and current and former faculty, staff, and students and friends of the university. A warm welcome back to all of our current members of the Lenoir-Rhyne Sports Hall of Fame who are able to join us today. It is one of the most special parts of the ceremony that you feel that sense of connection with our university and each other in the realm of excellence to come back and celebrate our new inductees. My personal congratulations to this special class of inductees who garnered special distinction during their time at Lenoir-Rhyne. This year is the first year of recognizing the contributor classification under the auspice of the Hall of Fame, which considers any individual who has made unique and extraordinary, lasting contributions to the Lenoir-Rhyne University athletics program that transcends beyond their accolades and honors in their respective sport. The Lenoir-Rhyne Sports Hall of Fame is held in reserve as the highest athletics recognition bestowed by the university. Today, we are pleased to celebrate the induction of 7 new members into this distinct class of honorees. Before we get started with the ceremony, I would like to take this opportunity to recognize and thank the members of the Hall of Fame committee, as well as the nominating committee, for their dedication and service, along with those who have played a key role in planning for this special event. I would also like to express my personal appreciation to Jeremy Zalaka, our Associate Athletic Director for Athletic Communications, for his leadership heading up the Hall of Fame process, as well as Juju Phillips for serving as the longtime MC of today's Hall of Fame ceremony. Join me in welcoming Juju back to the podium to officially kick off the program.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we begin, let us welcome our Hall of Famers who are with us this morning, including 2 special Hall of Famers we believe are 2 of the oldest living Lenoir-Rhyne Hall of Famers, Mr. Harold Agelski, who is with us this morning, and Mr. Gene Robinson. Gene holds many football records that were set 70 years ago. And recently just celebrated last month his 91st birthday. Coach, welcome. Mr. Agelski and, of course, Coach Robinson are among the 165 members of this exclusive fraternity, which we will add to a record 7 members, men and women, today. This year's class, again, is another group of talented individuals who certainly left their mark, be it as record holders, pioneers, standard bearers, All-Americans, major players, and contributors on championship-winning teams at LR. But most importantly, I think this year's class honored Lenoir-Rhyne University through their accomplishments and contributions. So what do you say? Let's begin our induction ceremony. Take a look at your screen on both ends, folks, as we begin our first inductee. He or she is one of the top softball players of her generation.
Sarah Atkins from softball. Atkins led LR to 4 straight NCAA tournaments and 3 straight SAC regular season championships during her career, including a program best 53-9 mark in 2010. Atkins also led LR to back-to-back super regional appearances in 2010 and 2011, and is the all-time leader in NCAA tournament games played and most RBIs in NCAA tournament games with 15. Atkins held the career home runs and RBI records until Kylie Lenhart broke both of those marks this past season. Atkins was a 3-time All-Conference selection and an NFCA First-Team All-American in 2010. Atkins was the SAC Freshman of the Year in 2009 and the SAC Tournament MVP in 2010. Atkins is the program leader in games played with 229 and is in the top 5 in program history in home runs, 46, RBIs, 190, total bases, 414, walks, 109, and fielding percentage with 990. Her 7 RBIs against Augusta State stand as the most in an NCAA tournament game in program history.
Sarah, congratulations. You're certainly dotted throughout the Lenoir-Rhyne record book. As you look at your time here at Lenoir-Rhyne, what are some things that stand out to you?
I think it's funny that all these accolades I got as a catcher and hitting, but Coach Heller actually recruited me as a pitcher, first base. So for me to have the career that I had, not expecting to play that position, I think kind of says a lot for my work ethic, and thankfully Coach Holler believed that I could catch. But it was just awesome to play for a team that never gave up, that supported each other, and it just made being this far away from home worth it. So it was definitely a family away from home.
What are some memories as you look back on your career? What are some memories that stand out to you?
Coach Holler's here, you know.
Okay, yeah, well, but you can tell us all, right?
Okay.
Very intimate setting.
We won't be that. We don't have enough time for that. I think the biggest part, like I said, I'm far away from home. It's 6 hours, so I wanted to find somewhere that I would enjoy who I was with, and it would make me homesick. So we did things like we went camping, and I didn't really do camping when I was growing up. So we did camping trips. We were around the campfires. Coach Holler took our cell phones, so girls, you know, how hard that is. And but we got to spend that time together, and we went horseback riding, we went whitewater rafting, so all the things that besides softball was really just, it was special because that's not something that you look at a school like, okay, I can play there, they have a really great team, but what do you do off the field? How do you make it, you know, worth being there and somebody want to come there? So those were fun. Van trips were challenging because we had 15 passenger vans and 20-some girls with all our stuff, so we made do. Of course, every time we beat Wingate, Carson Newman, Catawba, those were fun. But it was just all the small things. I met my best friend here. We were in each other's weddings. So things like that just carry on from college, I think, were the best memories.
Who are some people you like to thank that helped you get here?
Obviously, Coach Holler. She thought I was decent enough to come play here. She actually saw me play in Florida, and I had never heard of Lenoir-Rhyne. And my dad, we were going through all the colleges of let's go visit, and I said, Dad, I don't want to go there. It's 6 hours away. Like, I'd never even heard of this school. He said, let's just go. So we got on campus and met Coach Holler and saw the campus. I was like, wow, you just felt a part of something, not just a number. We visited some bigger schools, and it just, like, nobody's gonna know who I am. I'm just kind of blended in. So here you got to know people's names and faces, so that was awesome. My parents, obviously I want to thank them. My mom, I've been around her playing softball since I could walk. I was the back girl, so I was always around the field. My dad taught me everything that I knew, so he is a very special part of where I am today. And of course, all my teammates, they made 4 years really fun.
What's it mean to you to go into the Hall of Fame?
It was a shock. I mean, I got a phone call from a number I didn't know. I'm glad I answered it. Because usually I don't. 828, I'm like, I don't even know who that is. So it means everything. It was, again, not getting this position or recruited as a catcher and having this honor, it's just something you can kind of dream of. I mean, because there's not many chances for us to play as softball players after college. So it was like, this was the last piece. It was like, man, if I could get that would just cap off an amazing 4 years. So to get that phone call and to call my parents and say, guess what? I'm going in the Hall of Fame. Can you believe it? I'm a mom of 2 at home, in my PJs, and got called to go into the Hall of Fame. So it's amazing. It's something that I'm glad my boys are here to see that, and something I can carry on, and hopefully they'll brag about me at some point.
Absolutely, congratulations.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sarah Atkins, Hall of Famer. Ladies and gentlemen, if you look at the screens, our second inductee was an important part of the LR baseball program a couple of decades ago that helped put LR baseball on the national map.
William Combs from baseball. Combs led LR to its most successful 2-year period in program history. The Bears won the SAC tournament in 2000 and 2001 and went to the NCAA tournament in 2001. Up until this past spring, those stood as the only SAC tournament championships and the only NCAA tournament appearance in program history. Combs is widely regarded as the best defensive player in program history, as he owns the program record for career fielding percentage, .994, most chances, 1,340, and most putouts, 1,258. Combs is third in program history with 394 career RBIs and fifth with 28 career home runs. He's third in total bases with 394 and second in doubles with 64. Combs is also in the top 10 in career batting average, slugging percentage, runs scored, hits, and walks. Combs was named the 2001 Lenoir-Rhyne Male Athlete of the Year and was an all-conference and all-region performer.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. William Combs, Hall of Famer. So, long time coming, right? You guys, you've been part of the baseball program a couple of decades ago. What's it mean to you to be on stage here talking about LR baseball and what LR baseball was about 20 years ago?
Well, the first thing I survived walking up the steps. I was a little worried I was going to trip and everybody was going to laugh and, we would carry on. But, when you talk about being a Hall of Fame, that really doesn't resonate. As kids, we dream of playing college baseball. We dream of playing professional baseball, but I don't recall ever dreaming of being in the Hall of Fame. It's something when you get that call, you're kind of in awe, you're in shock to be recognized in this manner with all these people here, to have my teammates here to support. It's just a feeling that you cannot describe. I mean, when you look at all of the guys that are in the Hall of Fame and all the women that are in the Hall of Fame now, and to be a part of that, it's just something special that I know I'll never forget for the rest of my life.
I remember you back in your high school days. You were a quarterback, right, at
Yes, sir.
Statesville High School, and you played against some local teams in the playoffs back then. But when you came to Lenoir-Rhyne, Coach Pate was building the program, and you were part of that special time. What are some moments that stand out to you during your career?
Yeah, I was actually coming to Lenoir-Rhyne to play both baseball and football, and then made a decision at the last minute that I just wanted to play baseball. When you look back at the time when I was here, man, we had some great guys, and a lot of those guys are here today. We built a program that I think just continued from there. When you talk about winning two SAC conference tournaments, and then you win a regular season, and then you go to the regionals, those are all things that nobody talked about prior to our class doing it. I think we set the standard. I think that people still talk about it today. I saw when the guys had a great run this year and went to the regionals, it was actually brought up about the 2001 team, which 21 plus years later, we obviously meant something to the school, and it was happy to see that the guys did it again this year. So we were joking earlier. In the fall, we always had we call it the Lenoir-Rhyne World Series. That's one of the things that will always stand out to me as well. One of the guys was a senior and drafted players. And it was a year that they decided to go with pitching, and I wasn't a pitcher. And I promised the guys that they would pay for that, and they paid for it. Our team won. The team that picked first didn't win, so yes, Mud, I mixed that in there.
Why were you guys so good back then? What are some reasons why Coach Pate put everything together and you guys were able to win so much?
Well, I think it started with, obviously Coach Pate's recruiting. He brought in some guys that wanted to play the game, that loved to play the game. But if you look back at that team, there are no individuals. You had Craig Sizemore, who was a part of the Hall of Fame a couple of years ago. We had Jerry Caputo, but we had several guys that just loved to play the game. There were no individuals on that team. A lot of good ball players, but we just loved to win and loved to compete. We always had the mindset that you weren't going to beat us on the field, and you're not going to beat us off the field either.
When you look at now being a part of this Hall of Fame, and have some time to think about it now and go through the nerves here, what's it mean to you?
Man, I'll tell you, it's a special feeling. To do this while my father's alive, my parents are alive. I wish my grandfather was here to see this. It truly is something special. It's something that I thought about after my career. I know my family wanted to see it. My family, they're always behind me. They support me 100%. But to know that my father has put a lot of time into my career and support me, to be able to do this, not just for me, but to do this for him, to do it for my family, I think that's what it truly, that's when I sit back and think about it, that's what it's for. This isn't for me. This is for my family. This is for my teammates. And I think most people will look at it that way.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
William Combs, ladies and gentlemen, Hall of Famer. Ladies and gentlemen, take a look at the stage once again up on the two screens. Our third inductee, one of the greatest athletes in Lenoir-Rhyne history, simply put.
Kate Ryan from track and field and cross country. One of the greatest athletes in LR history, Greenwich was a 7-time All-American between cross country and track and field during her career. Her accolades include 3-time All-Region in cross country, 2-time SAC cross country runner of the year, 2-time COSIDA Academic All-American, 3-time SAC Scholar Athlete of the Year, SAC Freshman of the Year, 2011 SAC President's Award winner, and a finalist for the 2010-11 NCAA Woman of the Year Award. She owns the LR record in 8 events: in the indoor, 1 mile, 3K, and 5K, and outdoor, 1,500 meter, 1 mile, 3K, 5K, and 10K. And she was a part of 2 SAC team championships. Not only was she one of the most decorated athletes, but she was also accomplished in the classroom and owned a 3.85 GPA in biology with a pre-med focus, and went on to receive her doctorate of osteopathic medicine from Liberty University.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Kate Greenwich. Like you said, you know you're special when you have a nickname of Kate the Great, but I misspoke. I said one of the greatest athletes. I should have said student athletes at Lenoir-Rhyne in their history. How did you happen to come upon Lenoir-Rhyne? Is there a backstory there?
Yeah, so I grew up in the Lutheran church, grew up, going to church, and my faith is really important. to me, and so I wanted to find a school that would support that and allow me to continue to grow in my faith and just be a close-knit community, kind of like what Sarah was saying earlier, and finding a place where I just really felt like I belonged. And when I visited, I felt that, and I could, feel that I was going to be supported in my faith and academics and as an athlete.
Where did you get your motivation to accomplish the things that you did?
Well, I had a lot of great people that supported me. I couldn't do it without that. And I definitely, my parents to start with, my mom is a runner, and just their support has meant so much. They've made it to almost every single race I've been in, and my brother as well. And of course, my teammates, we kind of all suffer together. And of course, my coach, Coach Stewart, and assistant coach John Sharp, he ran a lot of workouts with me and did all the same work that I did. And so I just motivated by the wonderful people that surrounded me, and just the strength that they gave me, and wanting to, of course, represent well this school.
When you look at your career, and it was so varied and have all those accomplishments, were there some moments that stood out to you?
Yeah, so I was talking about this with Amanda, my teammate. She's here today. I'm trying to think of, what do I say with memories that stood out, because there were so many good ones, and I was really blessed that I was able to travel to so many different places, to the different national meets. Went to Washington State and Colorado and New Mexico and Kentucky and Illinois and all over California. Just all these wonderful memories, and getting to travel with my family to those, and my teammate and coach and his family, and so it's really hard to just pick one, and it's just all those little things. I just remember this one practice, we were doing a hill workout, running up one of the roads around Hickory, and definitely get that runner's high, and we had some endorphins going, and my teammate and I were just so silly and just enjoying it, even though we were working so hard. And I just think that kind of embodies a lot of my experiences, that it's a lot of work, but it's also a lot of fun.
When you look back on your career, and I asked you about what motivated you, when you look at your career, and what are some things some people that influenced you as you were coming up, and even while you were here?
Right, and similar to what I said before, definitely Coach. I feel like Coach Stewart was very patient with me. I honestly was just an average runner in high school, and so just the way that he coached me, and just, I'm a person who's very hard on myself and expect a lot from myself, so the fact that he was very supportive and nurturing and prayed with me before meets, and, allowed me to feel more calm, and, gave in to all my little requests of, don't tell me what my time is, just tell me to go faster or slower, all these little requests that I had, and just such a nurturing coach, so he had a lot of influence on me. And then, of course, Neil McGahee, I can't leave him out. He was just always so supportive of me. He always made sure I had a teammate to fly with me to meets, and would buy me a dozen roses just because, So I just have had a lot of, influence, but I think those are the main people that really helped me.
I don't know if you thought about this, but in your career, and I'm curious, how did going to Lenoir-Rhyne and do what you did here influence you or help you in your life's work now?
I mean, for sure, as an athlete, any athlete will know, it takes a lot of discipline, and I honestly feel like that has helped me all around in my whole life, the discipline of being an athlete. You can ask Coach coming back from meets, everybody in the van would be, fast asleep, and I'd be sitting in the back seat going through my organic chemistry notes or something, studying for the test. So you just learn discipline, and that translates to everything, and just hard work all around.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a hand to our Hall of Famer, Kate Greenwich. Congratulations. Largest class ever, right? We're halfway through. Take a look at our screen. Once again, our fourth inductee was a decorated soccer standout here at LR.
Catherine Hauk Wallace from soccer. Hauk was one of the most decorated players in LR soccer history. She was a two-time All-American in 2010 and 2011, and was a first-team All-American in 2011. Hauk was a four-time All-Region selection, the 2011 Daktronics Regional Player of the Year, and was back-to-back SAC Player of the Year in 2010 and 2011. Hauk also earned the 2010 SAC Tournament MVP when she led her squad to the best season in program history at 19-2-2, the first SAC regular season and conference tournament championships, and the program's first NCAA tournament appearance. The 2010 Bears advanced to the Elite Eight and fell to Florida Tech in penalty kicks to get to the Final Four. Houck ranks 6th in program history in goals scored with 31, and 9th in points with 71, and her 86 matches played ranks her 3rd in team history.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Catherine Houck, our next Hall of Famer. Catherine, congratulations. You have a nice crowd, I guess, some fans over there. Tell us, were they influential and helped you in your career?
Oh goodness, of course, yeah. I think just the team in general is, it was unreal. Like from the seniors to the freshmen when I came in, and then the 4 years that I was there, I mean, it was just, we were a family, and it was embarrassing. They embarrassed you, and they, really just made you a better person, and we competed, and we fought, and we battled, and yeah, my teammates were what made.
We've heard some Hall of Famers talk about team success. You guys had a lot of success as well in soccer. What do you think are some of the reasons why?
Oh, well, we had a saying that I won't say here because my kids are here, but B always wins. And so we had a mentality that we weren't going to lose. And we had a coach that pushed us to do that, and we weren't going to leave the field until we won. And that meant off the field we were working, it meant on the field, it meant at practice. I think that's why, is because we just had a mentality that we weren't going to lose.
How did you come to LR? Is there a backstory there? Is it an unusual story?
I don't know if unusual, but I also grew up in Florida, and so I had never heard of LR. It was a very small school. I grew up as a kid wanting to go to UNC to play soccer. I think that's every female soccer player's dream. And then when the coach approached me and said, I'd like for you to come take a look, I came and visited, and I think like everybody has said, it's just a family feeling when you come. You're not just a number, you're not just somebody else in a classroom. You have a name, you know people all throughout different sports. It really makes you feel at home.
When you look at being in the Hall of Fame, there's not a lot of women's soccer players in the LR Hall of Fame. What does it mean to you?
Yeah, I didn't know that, actually. My husband made me look it up, and I was like, I'm sure there's lots. I don't know, I think it's just really humbling. It's not something that I expected, it's not something that I really thought of, but yeah, I mean, it's really humbling, and I couldn't have done it by myself, obviously, right? Like, it's just incredible to be surrounded by my friends and my family and my teammates. I'm very thankful.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next Hall of Famer, Catherine Houck. Give her a hand, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you look at the screen, our next inductee was one of the best offensive linemen of his generation, part of the Bear football program.
Chandler Reardon from football. Reardon was a 3-time All-Conference selection and was named All-American twice during his career as one of the best offensive linemen in program history. He won the Jacobs Blocking Trophy, given to the best offensive lineman in the SAC in back-to-back years in 2010 and 2011, and became the 4th player in SAC history to win the award in consecutive seasons. Reardon was a second-team All-American in both 2010 and 2011 and was team captain in those 2 years. In 2011, he helped the Bears to their first SAC championship since 1994 with a 7-3 record and a 6-1 mark in SAC play. Behind Reardon, the 2010 Bears rushed for 3,515 yards, the 7th most in program history, and 41 rushing touchdowns.
Ladies and gentlemen, Hall of Famer Chandler Reardon. Please come forward. Amen. You were a part of the renaissance of the LR football program when you came in. Tell us first how you came to LR, because you originally, this wasn't your first destination.
Give me 1 second. I'm really nervous. I'm terrible at these things. So what I made sure I was going to do, I don't talk a whole lot, but when I do, I usually screw something up. And you don't always get a chance, like gotten awards over the years, you don't always get a chance to thank people who have been instrumental to you in your life. And I wanted to make sure I did that.
Okay.
And so, will you repeat that question?
First, tell us how you came to LR, because LR wasn't your first destination.
Right, I went to Liberty, but I'm not a transfer. I'm not a 2022 transfer like kids are today. I didn't come here for an NIL deal. I didn't come here for a different coach or more playing time. I came here because God had other plans for me, and that's the best way I can put it. Now, when I left, I ended up with two choices. It was either going to be Carson Newman or Lenoir-Rhyne. And I went to Carson Newman first. It was about middle way through the summer. It was late in the game. And I met Ken Sparks and Mike Turner, and they had, every year they had an All-American offensive lineman, and it seemed like a place to go. And then I came here, and I met Fred Goldsmith, and I remember one thing that he said. He was always honest with me from start to finish. And one thing that he said you could go to Carson Newman, and you could be another all-conference offensive lineman, or you could come to Lenoir-Rhyne, you could be a part of something special. And I remember I took that hook, line, and sinker, and he was right. And what I've done, I wrote down some things. I've kind of timelined my experience from 2007 through 11, because me being up here, as good as it feels to be honored, to be a part of these guys who have set the bar high. For me, I'm kind of piggybacking off of what William Combs said. It's about us. It's about everybody who's had a part in my life, and it's about my coaches and what we did while I was here. So I just want to read a couple things. In 2007, we were 2-9 when I got here. We won 2 games. We lost our freshman quarterback. We lost our starting quarterback the first game of the year, Justin Sanders. We played the rest of the season with a true freshman quarterback. He's about 5'9". We were awful. We had injuries plaguing the whole team. I had a high ankle sprain, missed most of the conference games. The left tackle beside me tore his ACL. We were in bad shape. We had, in the locker room, it was a losing attitude. It was not a fun place to be. And coming from Greenwood, I was not used to that. And it wasn't a lot of fun. I was living in a dorm called Project Price. And I had a couple of other athletes who didn't stay here long, but they were weekday beer pongers and smoked some of the good stuff. But I was miserable, and I really didn't want to be here. We played Appalachian State the week after they beat Michigan. To celebrate our season, we had our banquet at CC's Pizza. We did. And that was kind of the message to us, is if this is what we're going to get out of you, this is what you're going to get. And it worked. And Carson Newman beat us 56-13 that year. In 2008, we were 3-8. It was another bad year, but a guy came into my life named Harrison Smith. He played center here at Lenoir-Rhyne. He's one of the most godly men I've ever met. He's the only guy my age that I would consider a mentor. Just an incredible human being. He kind of pulled me out of my funk and got me involved in church and FCA and all that kind of stuff here on campus. He also, anytime he sees my ring, he says, "You're welcome," because I was supposed to graduate in 2010, and during spring ball, he dove headfirst trying to block somebody else into my knee. He tore my ACL. He gave me a medical red shirt, and I got to stay for 2011 when we won the conference. Carson Newman beat us 62-21. 2009, we were 5-6. I was taking a medical red shirt with a torn ACL. I moved back to campus to the Cornerstone House. with some of the most godly guys I've ever been around. I met Lauren Gaffney, who I'll mention again later, and then Carson Newman beat us 17-13. So now we're at 2010. I know I'm talking a long time, I'm sorry.
Just cut down my side of it, that's all.
So in 2010, the team chemistry had really come along, and Coach Goldsmith had recruited quality players and coaches who were all on the same page. We were 7-4, but we lost 4 games by a combined 14 points. So we're 14 points away from being 11-0. And then, you know, we go to Carson Newman, we drive up in the snow in Jefferson City, and we beat them 52-14. And it was an incredible day. First time in 36 years. And I remember we were going to dump an ice bucket on Coach G, and it was about 20 degrees, and our trainer said, Dr. McGee said, guys, what are you doing? It's freezing out here. He's old. You'll kill him. And so we dumped all the ice water out. We put styrofoam cups on in there, and we dumped styrofoam cups on him, and it was fun. Let's see. So then, let's see. I'm sorry. See, this is what I don't want to forget anything.
Okay.
I will say this: to look at all the things that LR is doing, and you know how well the programs are performing, the sports teams, the facilities, and all that kind of stuff. I think it's really important to remember, to me, that Coach Goldsmith is the one that got the stone rolling, and Coach Goldsmith, you know, he was the one that turned it around with recruiting players and hiring coaches, dealing with boosters, fighting the tough battles with LR administration, on and on. And I think it starts. All of this starts with Fred Goldsmith, in my opinion. And he's there. He's here today. If we could give him a round of applause. So then finally, last thing, 2011 we were 7-3. We lost 2 conference games by 8 points. We were really banged up. I remember we were sitting on the McCrory Center steps, and Parker Murray said, I'd been here forever. They called me Grandpa and different things. And they said, he said, what would you do to win the conference? And I remember I stuck my leg out there and I said, jump on it, you know, and he said, no, you wouldn't do that. And I said, I would, because if I left right now and didn't win the conference, then everything would feel like a waste. And now we won the conference, and I had to eat those words 2 weeks later with a pretty gruesome injury at the top. So conference champs.
And the rest is history, right?
The rest is history.
Before you leave, what does it mean to be an LR Hall of Famer, and for you and your family, the people that were influential to you?
Right. So the people that I really want to thank, it means a lot. Like I said, I think it would mean a whole lot more to me if Fred Goldsmith and Ron Boyd and a lot of those guys that were Major Heron, Jason Arnillis, Brandon Martin, there's so many guys that I could name. If it would mean a lot more if they were out there with me, if they stood on the 50-yard line with me, because that's what made me a Hall of Famer. We're all Hall of Famers because of what we did together. But I want to thank my mother. She's been my #1 unconditional support since day one, and she made sure I knew what was most important, and that is that I can go to heaven by trusting in Jesus Christ. I want to thank my dad. You know, I've had a lot of good coaches, but I learned how to play football from him. I didn't learn the plays and the techniques. He taught me how to play harder than anyone on the field, and he had me believing that I was the baddest man on the field because of my last name. I learned that size had nothing to do with it, and after talking with some of his past teammates and coaches, I learned that I've inherited a little bit of a temper from him as well. He's my best friend. He's the best coach I've ever had. To Coach Goldsmith, thank you for all the things that I've already mentioned, and thank you for taking a chance on an undersized lineman. Lauren Gaffney, who's now Lauren Gaffney Reardon, you're the best part of me. You're the ultimate coach's wife, mother to our kids, and I love you more now than I ever have. And that says a lot because I fell hard for you 13 years ago right here at Lenoir-Rhyne. To my family, my LR family, to the guy, what's cool about, I know I need to shut up. What's cool about being playing football at Lenoir-Rhyne is you're playing college football, but you're a part of a community. And I remember seeing guys like Bob Fincher and Norm and Johnny Moe and Roger Maxey, and they would show up at random times, and they would just ask us how we're doing, and they would encourage us. And when you're 2-9 and 3-8, you really don't deserve a pat on the back from anybody. And they were a constant sense of approval. They just loved on us through the tough times and the good. So I appreciate all of you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Hall of Famer Chandler Reardon. Great job. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, take a look at the screen as we move on and hear about one of the best running backs in recent memory in Lenoir-Rhyne history.
Jamil Surratt from football. The fourth all-time leader in rushing yards, Surratt finished his career with 3,383 yards, and his 34 rushing touchdowns ranked 7th in the 102-year history of Lenoir-Rhyne football. Surratt toted the rock 752 times in his career, which also places him 3rd in history, and his 3,839 all-purpose yards are 7th in program history. Surratt is just one of 6 players in program history to top 1,200 yards rushing in a season when he accounted for 1,296 yards on the ground in 2000. His 17 rushing touchdowns that season rank as the 4th most in a single season. On September 8, 2001, Surratt ran 32 times for 202 yards against West Virginia Wesleyan, one of just 16 200-yard rushing games in the NCAA era from 1993 to the present. Surratt's 11 100-yard rushing games in his career ranked 2nd in the NCAA era, and he was named Lutheran College second-team All-American in 2000. Surratt also took home the SAC Offensive Freshman of the Year honor in 1999 and was a team captain in 2002.
Ladies and gentlemen, Hall of Famer Jamil Surratt. Congratulations. How'd the golf game go yesterday?
We ain't gonna talk about that. We had fun, that's what matters.
That's right. Congratulations, you're part of the LR Hall of Fame. How important is it to you and to your fans and your family that are here today?
It was a shock that I actually got the call. I can't explain the emotions that I'm having. That sensitive side from my mom. It means the world, you know, to be able to play the game and inspire and play with your teammates. I have a lot of them here. And to have so many of the current Hall of Famers and to be part of this club now, it feels amazing. It's just hard to explain.
When you look back at your time, and even though the Bears didn't win the championships in all those games, what inspired you and your teammates to do as best that you can do and to have the career that you had? Well,
we all had one thing in common, the love for the game. You know, Neil McGahee, Geechee, he would always tell us where the building blocks to lead to those successful years that some others have had. But the love for the game, the camaraderie, the brotherhood that we have still lasts today. It's forever. You know, with the guys that we come tailgate just so we can have those memories and relive them again and tell the stories. So it's a special bond that we have with all of the guys that we play with.
Who were some special people that influenced you in your career?
So I would say my family, of course. God blessed me with the ability to be able to get a scholarship, an athletic scholarship, and academic scholarship as well to come here. Coaches, one of my first coaches was my cousin Donnell Birch. Coached me in middle school. Quentin Miller was a good friend of his, who's gone on to glory. They inspired me. They would tell me when I was playing like crap. Because we were family, he didn't take it easy on me. So that was kind of the first lesson that I got, that when you step in between the lines, it's time to go to work, no matter who you're with. So Coach Smith, he's here in the crowd, my high school coach. Part of the backstory on how I came to LR. Wasn't heavily recruited. He's a Bear. We're Bears together now, but the late, I'm missing his name, Coach Bagwell recruited me. Some of those guys, and Coach Hart was a coach here. I appreciate him just giving me the ball as many times as he did. So.
You were the I want to say Earl Campbell or the bell cow, the workhorse, running the ball quite a bit. What does it mean to you to be on stage here and be a Lenoir-Rhyne Hall of Famer?
I'm just blessed, honored, truly honored to be selected. And again, hopefully this can inspire someone else to know that, hey, you can do the unthinkable. I never thought about being in the Hall of Fame. I just wanted to play ball and maybe have a chance at the pros, but to be a Hall of Famer, it's amazing. I'm literally a volcano ready to explode. So it's cool.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a hand. Jamel Surratt, Hall of Famer. Ladies and gentlemen, if you take a look at the screen, our 7th inductee into the class this year was one of the most consequential student athletes in school history.
And now the first ever entry into the newly created contributor category. In 1967, Jerry Shaw broke the color barrier at Lenoir-Rhyne and became the first African American to earn a scholarship and play for the Bears as a member of the football team. Shaw's renaissance didn't stop there, as he would go on to become the first ever African American coach, as he was part of Jack Huss's 1978 coaching staff. Lenoir-Rhyne would go on to name Shaw Plaza and Shaw Center in his honor, and the university gives out a Jerry Shaw Excellence in Programming Award every year to the person of the LR community who has exemplified compassion and excellence in student programming. Jerry went on to work at Lenoir-Rhyne as a residence director and director of student activities. Shaw was a member of back-to-back conference championships in 1967 and 1968.
Ladies and gentlemen, accepting on Coach Shaw's behalf is his mother, Frances Hoyle, sister Jackie, and daughter, Francesca Hoyle. Please welcome them to the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to welcome in one of Jerry's teammates, Roger Maxey, who will talk about Jerry and his career. Please welcome him to the stage as well.
Thank you, Juju.
You're certainly welcome, Roger. A teammate of Jerry, take us back those many years ago. What was it like playing with Coach Shaw? I call him Coach because he was just a coach when I first got here, and so that's the way I refer to him. But what was it like being a teammate and being a part of Jerry's life?
It was really just an unreal experience. It was a unique time in history. The one thing I'd like to do, Juju, on behalf of Jerry's family, is let them see whose Jerry's teammates were. And everybody that's in the audience that played with Jerry, just raise your hand for a second so you can see his teammates all over there that played with Jerry. And then I'd also like to recognize all those that consider themselves friends or classmates of Jerry Shaw. Raise your hand, please. There you go, a lot of people here today. So Jerry was the first in a lot of ways. Those of us who, I guess, shared the locker room with him, we also called him Jerome. We called him Jerome, affectionately. Jerry was a great competitor. Coach Painter was very difficult and tough on Jerry. And he was tough on Jerry because he had a feeling that Jerry was someone special. And he certainly was that special person.
Do you know how he was able to come from Lenoir-Rhyne? Was it a point where did a high school coach influence him? How did he come to Lenoir-Rhyne and become a teammate?
Well, he was certainly recruited from his high school in Gastonia. I think for sure that the coaches saw athletic talent with Jerry. For sure, he was a good player. And Jerry and I had something in common, as some of my other teammates did, is that Coach Painter was very difficult on all of us. But after we graduated, Coach Painter really mentored a lot of us, but in particular, I know that he did myself and Jerry and put his arms around him because he really saw something in Jerry that he knew would continue on. And it did, as we saw on the screen. Jerry was truly an LR man. He loved this institution.
What do you think it means, if he were here, what do you think it would mean to him and mean to you guys, teammates, him going into the Hall of Fame?
I think he would be a lot like Jamil. He would probably have tears running down his cheeks right now. He loved everybody. If you ask anybody on campus, and this were trying times in the 60s in this country, it wasn't really the best of all places to live. There's a lot of tension. But if you ask anybody on campus that ever encountered Jerry Shaw, they would say one thing about Jerry. He was a great guy.
Yeah.
He was a great guy.
You guys deserve a lot of credit. Tell us the story about how his unfortunate passing and how it inspired you guys to do what you have done with the Bear Memorial Golf Tournament.
Well, thank you. Because Jerry was so inspirational, he was so close to all of us, and he went through a very tragic death, early death, very young age, cancer. He was in a lot of pain. I remember speaking with him in the hospital in Nashville, and he could just barely get words out. But to go to his funeral, a whole group of us met together with Coach Painter afterwards, and we were just inspired to do something for and about Jerry. And thus came about the idea of the golf tournament. We wanted to call it the Jerry Shaw Memorial Golf Tournament. Coach Painter said, we can't just honor Jerry, we need to honor all deceased Bear athletes, and it became the Bear Memorial. I think what's unique about that, and for those of you who don't know or haven't participated, since its inception, I think 34 years ago, Tommy, we've raised probably $1.5 million with the golf tournament, and subsequently with the auction, we've probably raised $2 million over the years with those two events that were started, thinking about Jerry and what we could do to honor him for what he did for and with us.
When you look at it, that kind of numbers, I would guess he has had more impact, or as much impact as any student athlete ever at Lenoir-Rhyne.
I think he's had as much impact as anybody or any student athlete at Lenoir-Rhyne. I think what is most important about Jerry is the generational differences today versus, I hate to say it, but 50 years ago. If his heart, and he had two things that were just unbelievable. He had love for everyone, and he had respect. And I think today, if we would continue with the love for everyone and respect, all the chatter on the outside wouldn't affect who we are as brothers and sisters.
Well put, Roger Maxey, thank you.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, the late Jerry Shaw, our 7th and final member of the Sports Hall of Fame class of 2022. One more time, let's give them a big hand. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you would, check your program. It's time to see if you know the words to the alma mater. And to get us ready for the game today and to conclude our ceremony this morning, the Spirit of LR Marching Band, under the direction of Mr. Neil Underwood, to lead us in our alma mater.